In the previous video, we began the process of adding some of the age spots to the back of our monster. So in this video, we'll go ahead and continue that process. Okay, so continuing on from Photoshop where we left off, we started to add some of these age spots in the previous video. Okay, and you can see what those age spots look like on our monster. Okay, so in this video, we'll go ahead and continue moving on with some of these age spots. Okay, so the age spots that we added in the previous video were these darker areas that just ran along the back. But we also need to be able to add some of these spots to the shoulder. Okay, and one thing that you do want to make sure of that I mentioned in the previous video is you want to make sure that these age spots don't pass this line. Okay, because what will happen is if your age spots do cross this line, like I'll just show an example, if your age spots do manage to pass over this barrier, what'll happen is within Photoshop or within Maya, if you reload this, what you can see is now this hard edge where this texture is being cut off. And that's basically just because within your UV texture editor, if you look, this line is actually this line on your model. So whenever you're making your textures in Photoshop, you do have to definitely pay close attention to make sure that you don't accidentally wind up with this situation. Okay, so let me go ahead and undo that. Now the next age spots that we want to add are up on this shoulder area. And that's actually this area of the UV layout. So let's go ahead here in Photoshop. Let's go ahead and add some of those age spots to this shoulder area. Okay, and this is actually the front of the shoulder, or the top area, where the shoulder meets up with the back. So let's add a few spots, just in a few places. Okay, and let's go ahead and test this out. Go ahead and save this. Go ahead and reload this in Maya. Okay, so here's what we now have. Okay, now we have these spots that are carrying over from the back pretty much seamlessly into the shoulder. Okay, and you may, like I said in the previous video, you may come up with a few areas like this that have just a subtle amount of stretching, and then typically, if the stretching isn't too severe, you can come in and adjust those within your UV texture editor. Okay, so let me find this UV. See if I can find where this is. And here it is in the UV texture editor, right back here. And I'm really looking at this little stretched spot, which I guess that's this one right here. So let's see if we can go in and adjust that in the UV texture editor. And like I said, typically, more often than not, if it's just a subtle amount of stretching, it's usually something that can be fixed relatively easy within the UV texture editor. Okay, so making just a few minor adjustments here and there, you can usually manage to take out some of that stretching. Okay, and we've managed to do that pretty thoroughly. Okay, so in the next video, I'm going to go ahead and pause it at this point and go ahead and continue making the age spots on this side. But in the next video, we'll go ahead and continue to add some more detail to the body.